So I talked about genetic gender and psychological gender. Hopefully, trigger warning on that one that people are so crazy about right now. There's so much fighting with that and the pronouns and all of it that we need to find some kind of balance or some way to distinguish difference the nuances of life. But I think life is mostly balance. And I don't think, for the most part, like I've said, I think murder, theft, adultery, some of these big ones are things that we shouldn't, there's no balance to that. It's like, those are the few things in this world that are kind of black or white. To a degree, even though. So I think a good example is abortion. That, we are so polarized about abortion. It's like all or nothing. And one side's like, oh, never abortions, which I think is extreme. And the other side's like, abortion's for everybody. It's great. I'm going to have 10 this week. 7 this week. Like, no, I mean, that's another extreme. And it goes into arguing that, and anti-abortion people, pro-lifers or whatever they're called, they definitely bring up some valid points of when does life begin. I know from a religious standpoint, a lot of religions, I think including Judaism, says 40 days actually is when the soul comes into it. So that's their stance on it. And but also, I know in Judaism, if you're not financially stable and bringing a child in this world could bankrupt you or destroy your life, you're allowed to have an abortion. Cases of rape, all those kinds of things. I stand somewhere in the middle of it. I've had 3 or 4 of my kids aborted by different girlfriends, and it's women say, "Oh, men have no say over it." Well, I created that too, though. Why don't I have any say? I know it's your body, but we did this together, and the same with keeping it. It's like if you keep it, but I have no say over that either. So I have no say in any of this. I think that's an extreme. I think that's crazy. I think fathers should have some say. And, it's not our body, but we help create this thing. Should we have ultimate say? Should we in the end make the final decision? No, I don't think so. I think women in the end should have the final decision. It's their body. But I think we should be incorporated in the decision-making process. I don't think that it's... we can be just completely dismissed from it, as we help to create too. You can't do that by yourself. It's that simple. And trigger warning, because I know people freak out about that, but it's the same as people who use abortion almost as birth control. They go and have unprotected sex all the time, and then they're just aborting babies like it's the plan B. I think that's crazy too. That's willy-nilly. Never have them, that's crazy too. Especially in rape or even illness. If a baby has extreme types of illness, even financial hardship. They're always going to be financially hard. Kids are super expensive. And so that's a tough one, because you're going to struggle no matter what, unless you're, a billionaire, a millionaire. You're probably going to struggle to some degree with kids because they're expensive. And even millionaires, the kids just want that much more. They're used to a better lifestyle, a higher lifestyle, let's say. Better, but so they're going to want bigger things. They're going to want a Mercedes when they turn 16, right? The little Honda's not going to do it. And you want to try to give your kids everything you can. Every parent, for people who aren't parents yet or will never be, it's hard to understand. I didn't. Until I had my daughter, I had no idea. It does. It's that saying, it's not that adults make kids, but kids make adults. It's really true. It changed my whole perception of life. It does something to and like seeing the vulnerability of that child and how much it depends. And maybe not to everybody, but to me it did. It really kind of changed my outlook on life and what's important in life, and how I, want to proceed with the rest of my days. And I think that you have to find that balance. Kids are always going to be expensive, but if it's going to like break you, you're on the verge of being homeless, and then you get pregnant, I think that's grounds, that, and hopefully soon. So the other thing too is like late term abortions. Some of these ones were like up to 8 months or 9 months or whatever. That's crazy to me too. That's extreme. Like, you got to come up with the idea. First 3 months is my personal, and it's up for debate. That's just my personal thing. So don't hate me again. Let's not be intolerant of intolerance. Let's not hate people with different ideas. Let's try to love one another. I think that's a fair amount of like window, 3-4 months, maybe first term, at the latest. Because there's like stories of chopping babies up. Basically, it's a baby already, and they're just like taking hooks in there and chopping that sucker up. And like, that's crazy to me. That's too much. That's too far, So it's a balance. I think abortion is one of the greatest issues of trying to find balance. And it's super arguable. I don't think willy-nilly abortions are okay. I think that's extreme. And late-term abortions, and that just like whenever you want to get one for any reason, it's my body, like, that's heartless. I don't know what's wrong, like that thinking. Like, who thinks like that? That's crazy, because it is a living thing. And after, was it 4 or 5 months? I think 5 months, a baby can survive. Like, preemies are born at 5 months. So because it's inner, it's not alive. Like, that's crazy. There has to be some, common ground there. And never, I think, is also a little crazy. Like, it's not ideal. I'm not a big fan. I don't really agree with abortion in terms like a couple of mine were ectopic pregnancies or potential ectopic pregnancies, so it had to happen. It was like, she just got pregnant, and it was, I'm sure, under 40 days. But I lost one to my baby's mama right before I left. We were already kind of like split up. We hooked up one more time, and she, without telling me, she said she was pregnant, and then like a week later she said she got an abortion, and I was like, wow. And then all these, and that's it hurt. It was like weird, because she didn't even like ask me or say she was going to do that. And like, we did have like a 1-year-old, so understandable kind of, but at the same time it was kind of shocking, and like it just went down like that. And the worst part of it was, she asked me for the last like 6 years to give her another kid, and I was like, what do you mean? I went, my mom was terminal, we thought, like, we got her better, I got her on some health regimen, but she was basically terminal. And so I left the country to go stand by her, and then I get this call, oh, I'm pregnant, and then a week later it's like, yo, I aborted it. And I was like, and it was all a shock. It all came really quick, and I was like, okay, it is what it is. I accept your choice. But then to hit me up too was, I just think, the most cold-hearted, like, crazy thing. Still, till recently, she was trying to get me to have another kid with her. So balance. I think of all the different issues, that's one of the best ones, of like trying to find balance. Of, we shouldn't be completely banned. It shouldn't be willy-nilly either. It should be some kind of, we should find some common ground there and try to work on that. The same with the genders, the psychological versus genetic genders. We have to try to figure out a way for common ground. And I think that's really the healthiest way to proceed with all these kinds of things, is finding a balance, finding common ground, and moving forward. Because the world, there's only a handful of things that are really black and white, and the rest of it is all shades of gray. It's all balance. And we're always constantly trying to find balance in our life, and balance is normally the right And I talked about it before with politics too. It was another great one of most people are, or at least were at one time, middle of the road. Now there's this huge, everybody just hates each other on the other sides, or like so many people, everybody. But so many people really hate each other. And that's another crazy thing where I see truth in both. And there's a lot of things I agree with on both sides. Doesn't matter, left, right, they both have their own truths. And a lot of times they both have a piece of the truth, and it's somewhere in the middle is where I stand. And that's, I think a lot of the world used to be like that more before. I really think TV and talking about it, we probably should just go back to like how our grandparents did it, where they just, nobody talked about who they voted for. Like very few people. Everybody just went, voted. That's why it's anonymous, and left. And didn't get so worked up over this stuff because it's, you know, they always say like at a dinner party, you don't talk religion or politics because it's deeply personal, and it can sour the mood really quick. And that's what we're kind of doing in the world, is we talk about politics all the time, and religion too, but especially politics. So balance. I wish everyone the blessing of balance in their lives, balance in their thoughts, and balance so that we can find peace with one another, that we can see the world for the shades of gray it is in so many things. And the vast majority, I believe, are in these shades of gray. And we can find some kind of common ground that suits us. You know, the beauty of America is in its 50 states, that every state is entitled to make the will of its people known and kind of make its own laws. Is it good to take it away completely? I don't know. Is it good to let it go on willy-nilly late term when, you know, as used as a form of birth control? Probably not. So both have a piece of the truth. Like, you know, it's but both also have an extreme end that's a little bit off. So I think if we can find that balance, find that gray area, we can find harmony and peace amongst humanity. So I wish this for all of us as a blessing, to find balance in our lives. And let's do this, people. Save the humans.
Trying to be a better man. Oh yeah. Trying to do the best I can. Oh yeah. And I'm gonna do right to you. Do right to you. No matter what they want to say. And I'm gonna still fight for you. Still fight for you.